Hey guys, welcome back to another video on the channel, another analysis chess miniature video. My name is Michael Rehala. I'm an international chess master and a FIDE trainer. And every day, every 2 days, I bring you interesting miniature games here on this channel with the idea to learn some chess, get to meet some of the best players in the world and see some interesting, fast and rapid games. Today on the agenda we have a game between Grandmaster Bella Khotenashvili from Georgia against a very young player, Zarina Nurgaliyeva from Kazakhstan. Bella is rated 2420, very strong Grandmaster, and Zarina is 2263. She's just a woman FIDE master, but I'm sure very soon she'll become a woman international master and probably a FIDE master when she crosses 2300. Now, Bella Khotenashvili, she has been around for many, many years. She is a very, very strong grandmaster, peaked at 2530, 2540, a very high rating. Now slightly under the radar, but still a very strong opponent. This game is from the World Rapid Championship 2024 in New York, and is from the women's section. And we'll be focusing on the opening. Basically, there's a trap which we can spring on unsuspected opponents. So if you play the Reti opening, if you play the King's Indian attack, or if you play either Sicilian or the French with black, you have to be aware of this trap. Let's go and check out the game. So Bella opened with knight f3, the Reti opening. Zarina played d5, Khotenashvili played g3. This is very flexible. The idea is just to do a fianchetto and then play with d3 and e4, or with d4 and c4, depending quite a bit on black's setup. So very flexible and very popular nowadays, just to get a game and try to avoid theoretical paths. Nurgaliyeva, no doubt prepared, plays b6, which is quite good. It's not the only move, but it does have the idea to play bishop to b7 and counter the bishop on g2. Bishop to g2, bishop to b7, castle, e6. And now, of course, d4 is possible with the idea to play c4. But this would probably play into black's hands. It would be a Catalan where the bishop on b7 is actually quite well placed. So Khotenashvili plays d3. Bishop to e7, knight bt2, knight f6 and e4. Now this same position we can get here from a French or sometimes from a Sicilian. So if those two defenses are in your repertoire, you have to be careful with this attack. For example, from the French, we would arrive at this position after this move order. We play knight to f3, bishop to e7, g3, castle, bishop to g2. And now there are several ways of playing, but b6, castle and bishop to b7 would be perfectly reasonable. I personally prefer playing c5 and knight c6, and at some point even b5. But that's a preference, a personal preference. b6 and bishop b7 is perfectly playable. From the Sicilian, we could arrive at the same position. Of course, all depending on specific move orders, but this type of position can also be reached with, of course, the pawn on c5. But in the game, this can also happen. So this is just to show you guys out there, those of you who are seasoned players will understand this, of course. Those of you who might be on the slightly more beginning side, or casual players, just notice that even if you learn an opening and you memorize certain moves, to become a good player you need to go a bit deeper and understand middle game theoretical positions that arise from different types of openings, because if not, you're going to be move tricked into a position you don't know how to play, which in some sense I think has happened to Nurgaliyeva. She might not be totally familiar with this line. Of course, as a woman FIDE master, she generally knows these positions, but she might not know them specifically. And therefore, you can fall into a trap if you don't know specific traps and tricks of the position. Now, after e4, it does seem that black has 3 pieces hitting the pawn on e4. And white only has 2 pieces protecting the pawn. But even so, a grandmaster such as Khotenashvili goes e4. So when a grandmaster plays a move like this against you, you could ask yourself, is he or she making a mistake? And that, of course, could be possible. But the likelihood of a mistake from a grandmaster or move 7 is very low. It's possible, but very low. So you have to go over each of the moves and make sure you're not falling into a trap. Now, if you check your analysis and you can't see any reason not to capture the pawn, you have to go for it. You have to trust your analysis. And if you make a mistake, you'll learn for the next game. So Nurgaliyeva did her analysis and captured the pawn, which obviously, as we shall see, is a mistake. Castle was the move that she had to do, although I would actually prefer not to exchange pawns here. Queen to e2 and c3, and white has a very stable and secure plus in this position. It's not much, but we can work with this small slight space advantage. Especially black's queen doesn't have a good square to go to, and that will be a problem in a few moves. As soon as a white rook goes to d1, the queen will be left going to a very passive square. But Nurgaliyeva played the principal move. She did her calculations and she captured the pawn, probably thinking that knight takes. This is not a problem. I've won a free pawn. And if I play some move like, I don't know, knight to e1, trying to take advantage of the pin, we have several counters, but we can just play knight to d6 and protect the bishop. And although black is slightly passive, we do have an extra pawn with the black pieces. But what she definitely missed is the move knight to e5, a much more aggressive move. Now, if the knight drops back, that happened in the game, and we'll see the trap in full effect. If, on the other hand, black exchanges on d2, then we can stick in bishop takes b7, and black is going to just lose material here. It's a very, very difficult position to hold. Yeah, I don't see, because even if he exchanges here, I could even consider capturing on d8 and capturing on a8 first, because the knight is in fact trapped and the bishop is definitely not trapped yet. So black is going to lose a piece in this position. So Nurgaliyeva, no doubt trusting her analysis, played knight to d6, thinking that after bishop takes, knight takes, she was a pawn up. But knights in fianchetto are very, very dangerous and subject to a huge amount of tricks. And here's one of them. Of course, white could have played knight takes f7, follow up with a check, capture the knight, and white does have a full extra pawn with not much compensation. But black is going to fight in this position. The bishop is active. There's still some development to be done. The knight can come to c5, maybe h5, h4. Black will be fighting in this position. Bella found an even better move. She plays queen to f3. Fantastic. A classic double attack. And the bad news for black is that the only move to save the knight and the pawn would be to go back knight to d6, but then the rook is dropping and white will be winning. So, in fact, Nurgaliyeva is lost here. She can only just try and fight and see if her opponent doesn't finish her off. She played queen to d5, check, and capture on g7, protecting the knight and hitting the rook. Now, of course, white is totally winning here. There's no doubt about it. But it is a rapid game. So, I mean, she can't just take 20 minutes to decide which is the best way to win. She does have to use calculation and general positional knowledge to play the best forcing moves. And Bella finds a very nice way to finish off. She plays c4, hitting the queen. And now she plays knight to e4, hitting the queen again, but also bringing more pieces towards black's king. Very well played. Queen to a5. And now there are several winning moves, but bishop to g5 is very good because there's a double threat of queen takes rook because of the pin, and queen takes bishop, double threat. Therefore, only move rook e8. And now it's a forced line take, check. And there's different ways to win. Rook a d1 obviously will be winning, but knight to f7 and knight to f6 forces resign, because after king to c6 only move, although it's a rapid game, you can't really carry on playing this position because you're going to be crushed, and also crushed very soon. So, as we can see, a very nice win by Bella. Key move here, the capture of the e4 pawn without sufficient calculation. Now, of course, Zarina is an excellent player, very young and upcoming player. She learned her lesson here, move forward. But the good thing about these games is that everyone can learn a good lesson here. Don't capture central pawns if your calculations are blurry or you're not totally sure you're coming out alive. But if you calculate that you can do it, then go for it. And if you make a mistake, like Nurgaliyeva did, you take a loss and you move on. That's the way to improve in chess. And that's why you come here, to get your chess fix for the day. A nice game, some nice ideas. Have fun, learn, hopefully improve, and see you all in the next video.